Left in Kentucky, the podcast of indivisible Northern Kentucky. Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to Left in Kentucky. Here with me, your host, Roberto Henriquez, and
Amy Ferguson.
And Dickerson.
And we're so glad you were able to join us again this week for our new episode. Hope everybody's staying healthy and well. And let's see. Not much going on this week, as usual. You know, same old, same old. How have you guys been this week?
I've been, stay at home mostly.
Yep.
Excellent. So this week we have another guest joining us, special guest, Jason Stroude, who's running for Senate District 15?
17.
Senate District 17.
Against demons there.
Yes.
Facing down the demon.
Against the demon. So that'll be exciting. We look forward to talking to him. But before that, we have our ever favorite cow patties.
Still cracks me up every time.
So, Amy, why don't you go first?
Sure, I would love to go first. So this came up on my radar today. Not sure how old the story is, but so I'm not going to name names or counties or anything, but it is a Northern Kentucky person that has decided to bring a lawsuit against our governor and our attorney general in the middle of a pandemic. And get this, it's because they can't visit their friends and family.
Oh, no.
In another state. So they get my cow patty because, number one, come on. And number two, how many dollars of state budget is going to go towards this sort of nonsense when we're going to need every single penny to get out of this and to get us through this. So, that kind of selfishness it's tacky. It's
yep.
been called for.
Well deserved.
Agreed. And to put off of that,
yeah.
My cow patty award this week goes to every. I'm coining some new phrases here. COVID Karen and COVID Corey, who believe that Corona parties and, COVID church gatherings and all this other stuff is, their right to do, and trying to complain that, their governor, and it's not just Andy Beshear, our governor, who we, are really proud of right now. But, there's others like that have been doing a really good job, who we'll talk about later. But my point is, you're always going to have these naysayers that come up and they buy into every conspiracy theory, and they've got their tinfoil hats on. If I see one more person, more people die of the flu. I swear, if there was the ability to reach through a computer screen or a telephone and slap somebody, I'm there.
We need to invent the virtual slap.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, all these weeks of self-quarantining have led me to this point, people. Anne is at the breaking point. You've entered the danger zone.
Danger.
Send cheese.
Well, and the thing is, their actions, they've proven the point. You got what is it, Hardin County, I think, in Kentucky, where they all went to church, and within, on the same day, like 20 of them popped up positive. I mean, come on, people. This isn't rocket science. 1 + 1 does, in fact, equal 2. There's no reason for the government is lying to you. Stop this bullshit. And let's, listen to the experts. Listen to people who are trying to not only save your life, but the life of every person you know, love, work with. I don't care if you hate them. We're still going to protect them too. You know, so can COVID Karen and COVID Corey please be locked in a corner somewhere? Jeez. Okay, I'm done.
That's the thing about Ann. We always have to coax her to tell us what she really thinks.
Yeah. So shy.
She keeps it hidden deep down inside. So that's one of the things we love about you, Ann.
They're not going to invite you to their COVID party now.
I'm crushed.
Oh.
I mean, you want to Corona something, by God, sit at home and down some Corona beer, whatever it takes.
Ew, that's nasty.
Don't go out. Okay, I agree with you, but I'm just saying,
Yep.
keep it to yourself.
Oh, too funny. Well, along the same lines, my cow patty this week goes to Governor Brian Kemp of Georgia.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Stinky one.
This winter, this guy, yesterday, I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday, finally decided to start telling people to stay home, saying that he had only found out 24 hours beforehand that COVID-19 could be spread by people who were not showing symptoms.
Shocking.
So this week was the first he had heard of that.
No, just no. He's the governor of an entire state. Hey, does he rock his fucking head in a wall somewhere? I'm sorry. I mean, all decorum. All decorum has left the building at this point. There's no way. Yeah. There is no way that someone in his position can make that statement and look into a camera or in a mirror and live with themselves, because that is a blatant lie. And I feel so sorry for anyone who believes that crap at this point. If I lived in his state, I'd be storming the Bastille, because that's a bunch of crap. There's just it's not possible.
Let's also add, the Centers for Disease Control is based in Atlanta, Georgia.
Right.
Come on, folks. You've read The Stand. You know how this ends.
Okay. That's his state. And he just found out this week. Yeah,
we're all wishing for that timeline where it was Stacey Abrams that won Georgia.
Yeah. If only it had been Stacey Abrams. But here the two terrifying scenarios of that. One, is he really that clueless and out of touch that he really didn't know that? Or two, is he such a terrible liar that he would pick that to lie about as the reason why he didn't do it?
Ooh, my favorite game. Are they stupid or evil?
Right. Are they stupid or evil? Both of which are terrifying consequences.
Sometimes they're both.
Yeah. And I mean, here's the thing. Oh God.
Don't hold back now.
Tell us how you feel, Ann.
Under normal circumstances, right? And we've all got to keep perspective of this word normal. If we had a competent, intelligent leader at the head of this country, how many phone calls can you imagine? And it doesn't even have to be a Democrat, for God's sake. Even George W. Bush, who previously held the title of stupidest president of all time, has far been exceeded now.
Oh, yeah.
But even that man would have been on the phone with every governor from every state and province, talking to them about what steps they should be taking or could take at the state level, what kind of help they need from the federal government, blah, blah, blah. Now Brian Kemp comes along and he's honestly saying he's never had one of those phone calls?
Apparently.
I mean, okay, so what is he calling Trump stupid now? I mean, let's get it all out there on the table, folks.
It's a Cerebus of stupid.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I just want to,
Or evil.
these are the people, these are the times that make me want to bang my head against the wall.
Makes
It's
me want
crazy.
to roll around in the grass outside, like my dog.
Oh my God. Just
So-
skip, don't hit the cow patties when you do
Yeah,
that.
I
Yep.
know. Well, we're in Kentucky.
So now moving on from the cow patties, we have a bullhorn for this week. That's our new segment where we talk about something good going on, and
Woohoo!
our
Yay.
bullhorn recipient. And I have a sound effect this week, so wait for it.
Oh, we're ready.
Our bullhorn recipient this week are collectively the governors who have reacted well and proactively to the COVID-19 crisis.
Yes.
Thank you, good sirs and madams.
Oh, I love it. That's hilarious.
Yeah, so obviously we're talking, that would include our own beloved state father, Andy Bashir, Dad. We're all just going to call him Dad from now on. And Mike DeWine from Ohio, Jay Inslee from Washington State, Cuomo from New York, and some of the others that have really done an outstanding job of showing leadership and direction in these really unprecedented, uncertain times. It's
Yeah,
helped
they've
us get
had to
through the
step up.
lack. Yeah, it's helped us get through the lack of leadership from the president, right?
Right. They had to
Oh,
do it.
absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the perfect one to pick. I mean, really, because as bad as this is, and as bad as it's going to get, which people need to understand, we haven't reached peak yet.
No.
At least we do have people who are willing to step up and take that leadership role.
Yep,
Thank goodness.
absolutely. Fortunately, we do. So good. So congratulations, guys, and we appreciate that, governors. I just had to play it again. I love it.
Feel free to rewind and play again. It's
Yeah. So anyway, that's our cow patties and bullhorns for this week. And joining us now is Jason Stroude, who is a candidate for Senate District 17. Hey, Jason.
Hey, how are you today?
Doing good. Glad you're able
Hi,
to join
Jason.
us.
Hi, Jason.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
So why don't you start off, just tell everybody a little bit about yourself and why you're running.
Well, I wasn't born here, but I've been here since 1986 in Grant County. My family's lived here for generations. They've been involved in the community. My great uncle, he was sheriff for years in the 70s. He was well liked around town. I've been employed locally here with Kroger for 13 years. I'm also a UFCW Local 75 member. We are the essential employees running everything right now, so it's nice to finally get a little appreciation. So,
I love you.
Yeah, thanks for working on the front line, keeping us supplied.
yeah.
Sorry, a spider fell on my head.
Most of us don't mind. Keep your distance. We appreciate it. But I decided to run for a Senate because basically I like to think that I can represent a large portion of the population that don't have a voice right now. There's a lot of things affecting our local communities, whether it be poverty, jobs, healthcare, opioids. There's a lot of things, and none of that's been addressed over the last 20 years of my life in this town, in this community. And a lot of us are tired of it, and we need someone that's willing to speak for them. And I like to think that could be me.
Excellent.
Good for you.
Glad you're running. I always have great respect for anybody who puts themselves out there and commits to run. It's not an easy thing to do. So much appreciate appreciate you doing that. So,
and it's not gotten easier. Even there was a small learning curve because I'm not a politician, so or a big learning curve, and I've learned a lot. And then the COVID-19 comes around, and everybody's learning from scratch. So I can't really ask for advice in this situation because it's never happened. So
yeah,
I'm sure you're pretty busy too with what you have to do every day.
Yes, ma'am. And it's still an 8-hour day. I work 40 hours a week. Sometimes a little extra. We try not to do too much of that. Our personal time right now, it counts for a lot. So
great.
We don't mind putting in time and working hard, but the personal time right now is very important to a lot of us.
So running for state senate, what do you see as, I guess, the 2 or 3 big issues that need to be addressed?
Well, the underfunding of the education system is huge. Also quality jobs for the community. That's a big problem, but it all stems from just the whole area being impoverished. Basically, there's a big lack of, I don't know how to put it, environmental accessibility to like a.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, my words are getting a little jumbled here.
No worries. So
there's a lot of problems that are in our environments that we can't affect, as individuals, and we need a bigger entity to help do that, and that's our local government. And you could keep federal out of the whole system. It all stems from local politics, and that's how we make our community better.
Amen.
That's true.
Amen. If there's one thing that I have preached from the time that we started doing this, it's that all politics is local. It starts there. And when people start talking about the federal level stuff and they're saying, why can't we have this? Why can't we do that? And they're wanting to focus on the big jobs. And anybody who remembers when, like the Tea Party and the takeover that has us with the extreme that we have now, people forget this was a 40-year plan that came to fruition, and they didn't start at the top. They started at the bottom, which is why every city council, every county level officer that's elected, all of these, the state house, both chambers have super majorities. That's what they did. They started at the bottom and they worked their way up, and they didn't care if it was an elected dog catcher. They made sure they had somebody running in every race, and that's how they were able to move up, and take over then again at the federal level. And people need to know that. I mean, everybody can tell you who the president is, but I bet you 75% of people can't tell you who their state level representative is or who their state level senator is. Now, in your case, you've chosen to run against one of the most hated men in all of Kentucky, in Damon Thayer.
Well, I don't hate the guy. He's never met me, so I'll make that judgment when I meet him in person.
Okay, well, I'll give you credit for that.
I don't like his politics.
Yeah, I have a strong dislike for him because of the way that he treats people, which is one of the questions that I wanted to bring up to you. Much like Matt Bevin, Damon Thayer has a very bad habit of blocking people on social media, whether it's, you can still see his Facebook page, but for example, I'm blocked from being able to comment on it.
I'm shocked.
So,
I know. Shocked at that.
Can't imagine somebody would block Ann from commenting.
Well, so he's got me blocked on Facebook, and I'm blocked by on Twitter and by his Team Thayer account for his campaign.
You got the
that didn't take
trifecta.
one. I do. That didn't take 24 hours, and I was blocked by TSA.
Wow.
Congratulations.
So it's like, wait a minute. And I am, people who know me, the way I, speak and say things in person is different from in other platforms. And it depends on who's around. And I'm sure we all do that. You'll say things in a group of friends that you won't say in a professional setting, or that you try very, very hard not to say on social media. And I'm that way. Like if I use a curse word on social media, I'm really fired up about something. And even then I rarely do. I just think it's poor, just poor form. You save that for when you're with your closest friends that allow you to vent. Hello, Amy.
Hello. This is why I'm not allowed on social media.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so none of the things that he blocked me for I wasn't calling him anything. I was simply, calling him out on a position or something like that. So you have a lot of experience dealing with the public. I'm sure not everyone comes into Kroger's all happy, sunshine, unicorns, rainbows, and light. So you're used to having to deal with people that, are expressing grievances probably where there shouldn't be any. But as their state senator, that's going to come up probably in a different way, but more. So how would you deal with that both online and in person? What do you feel is the proper approach for that?
So in person, because that's what I deal with on a regular, is very simple. You kill them with kindness. Even the meanest person will get more infuriated by you being nice to them than actually trying to calm them down. So just be nice to everybody. You know what I mean? So that covers you. That covers the person. It shows that you show them respect and that you're willing to take respect back. So you got to look at from another perspective that I get complaints on my employees. And a lot of times I know my employees, I've worked with them for some situations years, and so you deal with those complaints by, addressing it with the employee, and you just tell the customer that you'll be glad to take care of that. But you just be polite with them every time. You don't dismiss anything they have to say, regardless of what the truth is, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Social media should be easy, especially when it comes to politics. It's your right. It's your right to ask him about that, even on social media. Ask him anything you want. He's your representative. He's not allowed to block you. I have a big problem with people that preach to protect the Constitution and then they block people from comments on social media. When it comes to blocking someone on social media, it's a constitutional issue, and anybody that's going to stand up for the Constitution has to allow those comments to come through, because it's your right as a constituent to express your feelings towards your representative, whether it be on a vote or something more personal. So that's an easy answer right there. You shouldn't be blocked on any of those platforms.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
Agreed.
It's one thing if it's your personal Twitter account or your personal Facebook page, then yeah, you've got the right to block people or not accept people on those. But if it's, representative of the district Twitter account or governor's Twitter account or whatever, but if it's the official account of that position, then everybody should be allowed to comment on that.
And in the short little bit of experience that I have, I've noticed that when you run for office, you put yourself in the public spotlight. So part of that is accepting ridicule and just dealing with it, knowing that you're going to have people come at you. I don't think it's anything that an adult can't handle. So
yeah, I agree. So when you were talking about some of the things, some of the issues, you had mentioned education funding, and I guess I'd like to ask you a little more about that. Maybe go into a little depth as to how you think we might be able to improve the educational funding situation, and just how do we, what might be some ideas that you have for that?
Well, you don't want to fix funding for other schools by taking from other school districts. That's not a fix. That's just a balancing act to make things more par. The way I see to fix it is to create new revenue for Kentucky, whether it be legalized gambling or legalization of recreational and medical marijuana. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's other revenues that the state can look at, but we have models for those all across the United States, and
Preach.
I mean, just to follow. I mean, it's basically laid there for us to implement, and
Yep.
I don't know why we haven't taken advantage of either of those. I'm tired of giving money to Ohio and Kentucky when we could be taking it, if that makes sense too. So I mean,
You mean given to Ohio and Indiana instead of keeping it in Kentucky?
giving to Ohio and Indiana and not taking it for Kentucky. I mean, we're spending money across the river, and we could be doing it here locally.
Yeah.
We concur.
So there's a lot of in Frankfurt. There's the Republicans have the majority in both the House and the Senate by a significant number. So let's say that you do get elected in the fall. How would you see trying to build those bridges or working, assuming that you're still in the minority party, but having to work with the majority to get legislation passed?
Well, I mean, the only way to approach something like that, I assume, is just find common ground. And even if I can't push the things I believe immediately, by building on those common points, with the Republican and the Democratic Party, we could maybe open the doors for pushing possible other agendas, more close to my beliefs or the beliefs of my constituents.
Excellent. Yeah, I think it's very important.
Yeah, I think cooperation seems to be it's getting such a bad rap, as well as the term bipartisanship.
But you
I
see,
don't
over the last weeks, I mean, it really makes a difference in what we can do for the people when the two parties do work together. Even though the bills aren't perfect and far from it, but it still addresses a lot of issues that we needed, even at the cost of some things we have to give into.
Right. I totally get that. And for me, I mean, from the pragmatic side, I'd rather get some of what I want or need than none of it. And I think most people feel that way. But I 100% agree with you when it comes to finding common ground. And that's why I wanted to say to you, I really like the whole compassion, cooperation, and common sense thing that you had put out like within the last 2 weeks on social media, because all of those things strike a chord with people and really mean something to people when they know that, you're open to listening and you're opening to working with people. I think that makes all the difference in the world.
It does, and I've learned dealing with people. I mean, I haven't always been happy at work, but I've learned a lot of my people skills from the last 13 years in retail. So, I can't diss my job that much because it's taught me a lot about people, and I really think that perspective can really help me in office.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So one of the other issues you brought up was about jobs and good quality jobs. What do you see as I guess tell us a little more about that and what you see as the issues there and possible ways to address that.
Well, It's not only lack of quality jobs around here, it's lack of education for those jobs. The iron workers take hundreds and hundreds of people every year to apprenticeship programs. And why can't there be more stuff like that? Why can't there be more programs like that feed workers and skilled laborers into the unions to make for a stronger, more educated workforce? So that could be a way to fix it. When I graduated high school, the only option I thought was college. I really tried. I tried real hard at college over a 5-year period. I've had support from my aunts to go there. My family was really pushing for me to succeed, and it just wasn't for me. But had I had more knowledge of the labor industries, or the labor unions, or even VOTEC type schooling, maybe there would have been a better option for me. And those options need to be addressed and made available for students to learn about, which I think they slowly are, because people are really starting to realize that. But there's no reason we can't push that along a little faster.
Excellent.
Yes.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think it's for some reason we've decided that, careers that require you to do things with your hands for some reason are lesser than other careers, and discouraged generations of students from going into those when they're great careers, and different people have different skill sets and different propensities, and a lot of people really are much better at working with their hands, or learning a trade, or working at a trade, than at sitting at a desk all day. And one's not more valid than the other one. They're all valid jobs that need to be done, and good jobs. So I agree.
They used to take pride in that type of labor, and now it's not. Now it's kind of shunned.
Right.
I think this coronavirus epidemic is going to change people's minds about that a little bit. When we realize that these people that we vilified and sort of thought of as less than, the white collar worker, we don't need those white collar guys so much, do we? It's the people that are, feeding us and getting our, stuff across the country and stuff like that, and our, healthcare workers that are our essential people, the people that really matter. So
we will see this situation affect contracts across the United States for unions for the next decade. This will bring to the forefront of those contracts worker safety and even compensation. So this, as horrible as this event is, it's going to do very well for future health standards for workers and for consumers.
Yeah, unfortunately, it usually takes a big thing happening before big action can be taken.
Yes.
So one of the things we've been, it's a good segue for our next thing. One of the things that we've been asking our interviewees lately, is how their campaigns have kind of been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic and the stay-at-home orders, and kind of what they're doing to work around that without giving away any campaign secrets, of course.
Well, I don't think there are any secrets right now. I did take a vacation. I had a vacation planned, and we were going to plan a lot of in-person fundraising and some coffee shop tours and things like that. But obviously, those have been canceled. Those are not going to happen. So, we have the mail as an option. We have the phone as an option. There's still got to fundraise. Still have to fundraise. I'm not sure the best route for that, but we're working on a few things. To fundraise, you have to have funds. So it's kind of a catch-22.
Right. But, trust me, we know.
I think mail might be one of the better bets, and we're working on something along those lines.
Excellent. So if folks want to find out more information about you or your campaign, you got a website or anything like that they can check out?
Yeah, it is. Got a bunch of stuff. Let me find it all real quick.
And we'll put these on the show notes for the show as well. So when you download the podcast, you can look at the description of it. We'll have the where to find more information about Jason's campaign and where to get involved and help out. As we usually try to tell folks, campaigns always need people to help out. There's lots of stuff you can do, and now with being at home and having some extra time on your hands, there's definitely things that you can do to help out a campaign. So if find a campaign that you're interested, whether it's Jason's or somebody else's, and get in touch with them and let them know you're willing to help.
All right, my website, Roberto, you ready?
Yep.
It's www.strouded17.com.
All right.
I also have a Twitter at StroudeD17. And you can look me up on Facebook, Jason Stroude for State Senate.
Excellent.
Please ask any questions. I'll answer any questions people have. I encourage that. We encourage that. So.
Great. Sounds good. So like I said, I'll put those on the description for the podcast. So reach out and ask Jason questions and he'll get back to you. Hey, we really appreciate you being on today, Jason.
Yes, thank you so much.
I appreciate you having me.
You take care out there and you be safe, okay? Stay healthy.
Will do. You guys stay healthy too. Look forward to talking again.
That's going to wrap it up for Left in Kentucky this week. We appreciate you guys joining us. It was good having Jason with us. Let's see, next week, who do we have coming up next week?
Don't we have Mike Breuer?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Mike Breuer next week will be joining us. So look
We
forward to
love
that.
Mike.
Yep, running for U.S. Congress, running for Senate, U.S. Senate
Right.
against in the primary with a bunch of other folks. He was one of the candidates that was at our forum back at the beginning of March when we were still allowed to all go out in public. So
Yeah.
if you didn't get a chance to watch that, you can still see the forum on our YouTube page. And if you look that up, or Indivisible NKY on YouTube, you can watch the video from the forum. And it was about 2 hours, lots of questions, hosted by Ryland Barton. Really, really good event. Lots of good information from the candidates. So now that you have
we've gotten a lot of good feedback on that.
So check it out. Why don't you?
Yeah, good feedback. And now you've got extra time to consider your choices since the primaries have been pushed back to June 23rd?
Yes.
Yep, June 23rd. So you got some extra time there. And since you really don't have much to do and you're looking for things to do, why not watch it? Also, why not share the podcast with your friends, your neighbors, your acquaintances, your Zoom buddies, for those of you doing your Zoom meetings or FaceTime meetings or whatever you're using. So yeah, follow our podcast and we will be back next week with more exciting stuff, and we're lining up guests, so stay tuned for that.
Thanks for listening, honey.
Until
Thank
next
you.
week.
Come back and see us.
This is Roberto Henriquez.
Amy Ferguson.
And Dickerson.
Left in Kentucky, the podcast of Indivisible Northern Kentucky.